Hello, and welcome to another weekly business insight brought to you by the BizProfitClub. This insight is all about total value of a customer to your business, or answering the question, what is a customer really worth to my business? This week I want to give an introduction to this really important concept that should really change your mindset when dealing with your customers, your patients, your clients, etc. This is known as the lifetime value of a customer, or total customer value. They are really the same thing. In this insight, I will refer to total customer value. It is one of the most important concepts in business, and will be covered in a lot more detail in later tools and insights. But today I just want to offer an introduction and give you plenty to think about. Firstly, don't think of your customers as customers. Think of them as clients. I don't really like the term customer and try not to use it, but catch myself using it all the time because it is such a common term. But a customer implies a transactional type of relationship, whereas a client implies an ongoing service and relationship with that individual or business. Regardless of what business or industry you're in, this ongoing service and ongoing relationship should be your objective. Okay, so let's get on with it. It is absolutely crucial not to think of a client transaction as a one-off. This is a common mistake in business owners' mindset, and it is a very expensive one, especially in those businesses where each transaction has relatively small value. Think of a takeaway restaurant owner or a hairdresser. Each transaction with an individual client is relatively small. Let's, for example, say $50. But if they come into your business once a month, then that client is worth $600 a year. If you have them as a client for 5 years, then that individual client is worth $3,000 to your business. Later in this insight, I'm going to touch on why that $3,000 is way too conservative. This concept is crucial when building a loyal client base, as it adds so much value to your business. We covered this point in an earlier insight on the 5 sources of strategic value. And, of course, it adds so much more to your bottom line than what many business owners might think. If you multiply the $3,000 I mentioned earlier by 500 customers, then you have $1.5 million worth of business. If you think along a $50 transactional term, those same 500 clients are only worth $25,000, which unfortunately is how many business owners think about it. There are huge benefits to thinking about this. 2 of these are client referrals, and the other is what is often called social pull. There's also an amazing competitive advantage aspect that I will touch upon. What it requires, of course, is for your loyal clients to feel happy and valued by you and your business. They must be happy with the service and the relationship they get. In order to establish this, you need to get to know them. You need to get to know their habits, their hobbies, their likes and dislikes in dealing with your business, what frustrations they have, why they come to you and not to your competitors, etc. This type of information might vary from industry to industry, but the minimum you should know is why your clients like and dislike dealing with your business, what aspects they like and dislike, and why they do come to you as opposed to your competitors. They are really minimum pieces of information that you want to be gathering. If you think of a client being worth $3,000, which I will show soon that that's really conservative, and not $50, which is the transaction example I gave earlier, you'll be far more prepared to invest in that relationship. So don't be afraid to offer free giveaways, special experiences for those loyal clients, etc. It is well worth the investment if it makes them feel special and valued. Unfortunately, most businesses neglect this. I'll give you a personal example of this. I have been going to the same hairdresser for years. I don't particularly like having my hair cut, and I don't particularly like that hairdresser. I only go to them because they are close by. So it's a convenience thing. The interesting thing though is they clearly do not do anything to build my loyalty or relationship with them. If I happen to go to another hairdresser because I'm out of town, then they don't know or care that I've missed my regular haircut with them. They have never contacted me to remind me that I might be due for an appointment, say after every 4 or 6 weeks, and I don't feel particularly obligated to them to make an appointment. This, unfortunately, is quite a common experience, and if you think about what can be done to build loyalty, there are so many ideas that you can implement in regardless of what business you're in. All it takes is a different mindset and a little bit of basic information. The mindset, of course, is the importance of that client, and that should come out by recognizing and calculating the value of a client, and also some basic information which I touched upon earlier, is their likes and dislikes in dealing with your business, why they come to you and not to your competition, etc. But also things, if depending on your business and industry, what their habits are, their hobbies, etc., etc. As I mentioned earlier, the total client value grows exponentially when you think about client referrals and social pull. If you have a referral strategy, and we will cover this in another insight, as every business really should have a client referral strategy, and that client refers, say, 5 other people to your business, that $3,000 example I used earlier is now worth $15,000. Just from one client referring 5 others to your business. The question, of course, is how much would you spend to have such a client in your business versus how much do you spend today? By the way, this can be a real source of competitive advantage. If you recognize that a client is worth thousands to you and you are prepared to invest to hold them and to gain more share of their business to you, you can really outsmart your competitors by investing accordingly. Ask yourself the question, how much would you pay to bring in a new client worth, say, $15,000 to your business? The answer should be at least several $1,000s. You can be sure that your competitors are not spending anything like this, but you can and you should be. Think about how you might do this. Also think of a restaurant. Most people do not dine alone and usually bring between 1 and 3 others per visit. If one diner comes in, say, once a month and spends $100, then they are worth $1,200 a year to your business. But if they bring in 3 others per visit, they're actually worth $4,800 a year. Again, just from one client. In turn, those 3 others could become regular clients, and so it exponentially grows. Do you think this is really worth spending a bit more time and money on to make these clients happy? Imagine the loyalty that you could generate if, for example, you gave that original client a free meal now and then. You may think it will cost you $100, but if they are directly worth $4,800 and many times potentially more than that to you, then it is a small and worthwhile investment. There are so many more aspects to this, but I hope it has given you some insights and thoughts on how it might apply to your business. Don't forget to look at other industries when thinking of ideas. For example, do you think a company that sells printers really make much money from selling the actual printer for a few $100s? No, of course not. They make the money on the ink. So for them, the total customer value is by no means the purchase of the printer itself, but it's the life of the printer times all the ink supplies that they will use. Have a think about this insight and how it might apply to your business. I hope I've given you plenty to think about, and importantly, some actions you can take and apply in your business today. We really love the feedback. Love to know what you got from the insight, what action you took as a result, and importantly, what results you achieved. Let's get these profits going, and until next time, thank you.